Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Pitch Us. Super excited to have Jade and Harry today talking about Transcribbit. Let me pull them up real quick. Harry, please share your screen and pitch us.
I always thought I was a poor student, struggling in college with failing grades. Then COVID-19 changed everything. Online classes allowed me to learn my own pace, replaying lectures and taking breaks as needed. This approach led me to make the dean's list in my first semester. Recognizing that traditional teaching methods didn't suit me, I devised a system using smartphone notifications to maintain focus, especially during challenging courses like discrete math. This technique, based off of Pavlovian responses, proved effective, helping me pass my classes. Intrigued by the different learning needs of students, I interviewed classmates, teachers, and education professionals, seeking insights into the common challenges in education. My experience highlighted the need for a hybrid approach that combines the best of both online and in-person learning. Transcribbit redefines educational engagement with a dual-sided platform, an intuitive teacher-side app, and an unlimited access student interface. Why settle for separate subpar transcription licenses when Transcribbit offers superior real-time lecture transcriptions that enable meaningful teacher-student interactions? Tailored for inclusivity, Transcribbit is especially benefit for students with ADHD or autism, providing AI-summarized, concise transcript that ease information processing. Transcribbit's anonymous question feature addresses the social challenges of classroom participation. It removes the stigma of just not getting it, catering to diverse needs from eager learners with numerous questions to those with physical limitations like me, as I have muscular dystrophy. How am I supposed to raise my hand above my head? By transforming our habitual response to digital notifications into a tool for enhanced focus, Transcribbit ensures that every student stays engaged, comprehends key information, and feels confident and included in the learning environment. Moreover, Transcribbit empowers students to interact with the lecture material through a unique highlighting system. Students can mark parts of the transcript that resonate with them, providing teachers with a heat map of the class comprehension. This insight allows educators to tailor lessons plans effectively, addressing areas where students excel or need more support. The educational system is currently grappling with the significant financial challenges associated with educating students with disabilities, often costing up to twice as much for other students. This situation places a heavy burden on families and schools alike. Compounding this issue is the outdated and inefficient process of obtaining individualized education programs, IEPs, which can be daunting and a complex journey for many. In this challenging context, Transcribbit offers a beacon of hope. This innovative technology presents an affordable and scalable solution to the acute shortage of paraeducators and the high cost associated with traditional educational capabilities. It serves as the crucial tool in providing a baseline level of accommodations for students, especially vital given the complexities and delays often encountered in the IEP process. Now, let's see it in action. You can pitch, and in today's pitch, everything will be transcribed by Transcribbit, showing just how effective it can be in a classroom setting. Transcribbit already has some cool features, like using Pavlovian techniques to spot important parts of a lecture, and a note-taking tool that works right alongside the transcription. Now we're super excited about what's coming next. We're working on a heat map feature. This is going to show teachers where students got confused in the lesson, also giving them a heads up on what to focus on. Also, we're putting something together for students to show where they're getting in and where they're lost. That means teachers get real-time feedback and they can use this to make their future classes even better. These new tools are all about making Transcribbit more than just a Transcribbit gadget. We're turning into something that really changes the game in education, making classes more about what students need and helping teachers do their best work. Transcribbit is stepping up as a game changer, especially how it addresses the challenges with IEPs. A key issue with them is their accessibility. especially for marginalized students who face barriers due to systematic issues like racism and sexism. Not every student who needs an IEP gets one, which is where Transcribbit comes in, offering a baseline level of accommodation for all students. Educators like Frank Tellerico Jr., a special education case manager, recognize its potential beyond traditional IEP boundaries. He notes its usefulness for a broad range of students on IEPs, seeing it as a crucial tool for case managers. It helps track critical classroom interactions, making sure no important information is missed. For students like Clayton, who often struggle with what to write down, Transcribbit simplifies note-taking. This is particularly valuable for those who might not qualify for IEP, but still face challenges in keeping up with the classroom. In essence, Transcribbit is filling a critical gap in the education system. It's to provide necessary support where IEPs fall short, particularly for marginalized groups. This level of accessibility and support is key in creating an equitable educational landscape where every student, regardless of their background or learning needs, has the tools to succeed. Transcribbit revolutionized classroom support with its paraeducator mode, offering immense value at just $180 per class per month. This mode enables paraeducators to assist multiple students simultaneously in a non-intrusive way, greatly expanding the capacity to support diverse needs within a single class setting. Traditional paraeducator roles, often limited to a one-on-one interactions, are significantly enhanced with Transcribbit, allowing for a broader, more efficient reach at a fraction of the usual cost. By integrating tools like heatmap technology, paraeducators can quickly identify and address areas where students struggle, optimizing their time and focus. This approach not only makes their role more effective, but also ensures a more inclusive learning environment. For schools, this means providing high quality, support to more students with disabilities, all within a manageable budget, making Transcribbit an economical and impactful solution in modern education. Transcribbit's initial target market is in special education, but its classroom pricing model allows it to reach beyond just special needs. This exposure to a wider student base can influence schools to expand Transcribbit's usage. Features like anonymous question asking and highlighting, making it appealing to a broader audience. While not all disability accommodations can be replaced by software, the market potential is significant. School districts spend about $3 billion on educational software, but a more targeted figure for Transcribbit is the $154 million spent specifically on assistive tech. Even with a modest market of 10%, Transcribbit stands to gain revenue of $15 million. But as we consider Transcribbit's role in the current market, it becomes clear that our market potential reach extends far beyond just the initial focus on special education. The market for educational accommodations is vast and growing, especially when you look at figures like California's annual spending of $13 billion on special education. This is a massive investment ensuring student success in graduation, and Transcribbit, with its capability to enhance the effectiveness of paraeducators, is poised to make a significant impact in this area. By improving paraeducator efficiency, we're not just offering a tool for individual classrooms, we're aiming to reshape the entire market of special accommodations. There's a wealth of funding directed to helping students graduate, and Transcribbit stands at the forefront, ready to tap into this expansive market. This context sets the stage for understanding Transcribbit's broader implications and the transformative potential it holds for the future of education. Transcribbit is uniting a revolution in the educational sector, reshaping how support and accommodations are provided to students, particularly those facing systemic barriers. This tool is not just about technology, it's about creating a movement towards inclusive education for all. For parents, Transcribbit is a beacon of hope. It eliminates the often complex and time-consuming process of securing special accommodations for their children. This is particularly vital for families who face systemic challenges, making the traditional route of obtaining help daunting or even impossible. Transcribbit's straightforward approach empowers these families, ensuring their children receive the support they need without unnecessary hurdles. Teachers, too, find a powerful ally in Transcribbit. It simplifies the provision of accommodations by providing a baseline level that's easily to implement in any classroom settings. This means teachers can provide essential support without the strain of managing multiple, sometimes intrusive combinations. With those two powers combined, plus the ability of Transcribbit to help schools and help students focus in class, and not fall behind, we plan on having upward momentum to pressure in the school district to adopt Transcribbit by going to PTA meetings as well. And this journey, while pioneering and impactful in reshaping educational support, also encompasses strategic exit possibilities. We've established internal connections with major players in the education technology sectors, including Canvas, Blackbaud, and Apple. These relationships open doors to potential acquisition opportunities, providing a pathway for Transcribbit to integrate its innovation solutions with these larger pathways. Such collaborations could amplify the reach and effectiveness of Transcribbits, aligning with our mission to make inclusive and efficient education on a global scale. We're leaving our competitors like Otter, Glean, and Dragon Transcript behind. Unlike these services that depend on students' microphones, often yielding inconsistent transcripts, Transcribbit ensures that the audio is coming from the source, the teacher. This approach ensures high-quality, crystal-clear transcriptions, capturing every lecture detail as intended. More than just recording words, Transcribbit offers an interactive experience. Digital transcript tools produce static one-dimensional transcripts. Meanwhile, we engage with the content, providing valuable feedback and insights, making it a dynamic part of the learning process. Our pricing model further sets it apart. While others charge per student, leading to a redundant cost for the same services, like 10 students getting a transcript of the exact same class, Transcribbit's per classroom pricing ensures all students benefit from our top-tier transcription technology at a single cost-effective rate. We make this a superior transcription tool, but also more accessible and financially sensible for schools. Transcribbit is going to change the game, especially with ongoing paraeducator shortage. Picture this: covering an entire school with Transcribbit costs about 1/5 of what you pay for a paraeducator. That's a massive save on the budget. Plus, it's just about cutting costs. Transcribbit makes paraeducators way more effective. With their tech handling the baseline support, paraeducators can zero in on students who really need that one-on-one help. It's like giving them superpowers. They can focus where they're needed most without spreading themselves too thin. Transcribbit isn't just about filling gaps, it's boosting the entire support system in schools, making sure every student gets the attention they deserve. Not only do we have 3 schools committed to product testing, we are featured in Portland Business Journal's Under 25 award, have our first conference customer as Code Launch Accelerator, and once we can transcribe and translate in Spanish, Chapnik and Gieson, a real estate firm in Spain, has agreed to be customers. Our Transcribbit team is more than just tech experts. We're people who faced and overcome the challenges that we're addressing. Each of us has either ADHD or autism, giving us a unique insight into our mission. I bring coding experience from Legacy's glaucoma research at LRI, while Jade Zaskowski adds her expertise as a formal lead statistical analyst at Liminal Enterprises. Thank you. Together, along with other skilled programmers and business professionals, we're uniquely equipped to make Transcribbit a tool to truly understand and meet the needs of its users. Transcribbit's edge in its technology is balanced out by our acknowledgement of weaker areas like sales and marketing. Thankfully, our mentors are key in bolstering these aspects. Todd Lawrence from Oregon State University, with his Oracle experience, is crucial in expanding our network within disability services. Jerry Young, ex-VP at NWA, guides us through partnerships with traditional software firms. James Johnson, formerly of Kaplan, sharpens our financial strategies and pilot program management. Their expertise is vital in transforming Transcribbit from a tech-focused startup to a well-rounded, nationally expanding enterprise. We're asking for $600,000. Our focus for this investment is to provide us with the ability to work on the product full-time and to develop a sales outreach team headed by our head of sales, Freya Crow. A small portion will also help cover the cost of running our servers. This will also pay stuff for research, advertising, and going to conferences for 16 months. Let's transform the future of special education together.
Awesome. Go ahead and leave that up if you will, and we can go through it. First of all, thanks for presenting. This is really cool. One of my favorite things is, and I don't recommend this in pitches, is a demo, but the demo really highlighted some of those core functionalities that I think are really unique with a product like this. And it's clear that you guys are very passionate about this project. So those are my big kudos to you guys from a presentation point of view. It was about 12 minutes, so it's in a good time frame. We can kind of shorten some stuff. You want to keep it right around that 10-minute mark. But other than that, those are the really the things that I liked about it. now to get into the areas of opportunity, I'm resharing your screen. So I'm going to start off with my big thing, and this is my Tim Cooley. I wish I could change this in the whole world. Is in the slide on the ask. The combine your contact and your ask slide together, and the reason I do that is it gets the most airtime. So when you're actually presenting and you leave it here with a thank you. So if you go back to your thank you slide, just ask one question about the company based off of this slide right here. It's really hard. It's a hard question. So I'm trying to remember what you just said for the last 10 minutes. And if you combine your ask slide, which you'll need milestones on here. We'll come back to that. But combining these two is a really good way to end the whole thing. But visually, it looks great. So go back to the very beginning. Let's start at the very beginning. Okay, so I really liked your backstory. I thought that was really, really valuable. I think what you want to do is move forward one slide. I want you to call out these problems that you had with yourself. So you mentioned the way you learn, but you don't say like, here's what is supposed to happen. Does that make sense? These are very generic. There's 3 very generic things happening here on the slide, and I want you to get very specific.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, this should be a more specific slide targeted towards.
Yep. So you're going to say the current problem with, and again, go with transcription technology, because that's what you're doing. So you're saying, hey, I went to school, I wasn't doing good. Then I figured out how to become on the dean's list. Now I'm crushing it, but here's the things that I learned with current note taking, the problem with note taking products. One, they really don't service this, forgive my words, but disabled community that have these kinds of conditions, right? They don't serve in this like anonymous way of communicating to the teacher that you have a problem. They don't, you can't just click a checkbox and say, I have no idea what you just said, right? Like those are those kinds of things. Like as a learner, that's what I couldn't do any of those things, yet I was able to get these notes that weren't even helpful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so get real specific, because now you're going to show me how you solve those here in a second. And then when we get to our competition, right, you're going to say, look, Snapdragon or whatever it's called, Canva has an okay tool, but it can't even do this. Zoom sucks at this. It's, I can do a Google Doc and then I can just have it listen, but I can't interact, right? Like you can start to label all of the competitions and just check mark where you guys are different from them. Does that make sense?
So over here.
Yep. So para-educator, let's talk about this really for a second. You're not competing against them. You're really you're a very separate note-taking thing, and you're an augmented thing to them. It could be useful to bring them up, but you're kind of saying it's like, look, although we built it for this group of people, it actually benefits everybody. And I think that's really what you're saying, right? Like you can be used by this group of people and everybody, it's not.
Yeah. The reason that we keep on bringing up paraeducators.
Yep.
Is partly because we're trying to figure out what's the most effective competent replacement for what we're doing. What's the strongest competition we have? And the strongest competition that we have is a human dedicated to doing this for a specific person.
Okay. So
and
if that, so if that's the case,
we want to show the competition where they're strong.
Yep, that makes sense. So if that's the case, then again, you build it here in this problem statement, right? Currently, for this group of people, there is a person who takes notes for someone. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Person who sits in class with them and makes sure they stay on track.
So that also happens with people who are falling behind in school. I worked in athletic training. I know they do this for athletes who are struggling as well, right? And I'm a veteran. They do this for veterans as well. Like they have lots of people who need this type of service. So if that's the market, then again, you're still competing against note taking, right? That's the market you're going after.
Note taking and also kind of like educational support, because we're having it so that peer educators can communicate with the students. It's less about note taking. It's also like oftentimes with my questions, I accidentally interrupt a class, stuff like that.
Right. So that's what you're saying is wrong with this. The current system is you either have a person who writes notes and just listens. You have another tool that just records the notes. You can even have a tool that summarizes the notes. That's the current version.
Mm-hmm.
What's missing is the way to interact anonymously, these other things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. That's
yep. And then you want to like, you could break out each one of those elements into a slide, and then you want to use visuals to like, to add to that, right? Like, I mean, literally if people haven't been out there and that are watching, you literally, there's a person that seriously takes notes for people. They just literally sit there and write notes. So you can show those kinds of things is what I'm trying to say. You can add pictures to reinforce that understanding of the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So once you've dialed in those problem statements, right? And I know you know them because we're about to solve them, right? Now I want you to introduce the company and say, hey, look, we're this company. We're changing all this. We're making note taking or whatever you want to say, whatever your tagline is. And then I want you to you can either call out each one of these things separately. There's a lot. What I want to hold on. Let me back up a little bit. This is a lot to read. If you go back to your solution slide, this is a lot to read. And so I'm trying to listen to you and read this. So if you don't go in this exact same order, then I'm like, wait, what are we talking about? So what you can do is break these up into their own slide. So first we started to solve with live transcription. Let me show you. The second thing we did was we added highlighting capability. So you don't interrupt the class. You can, make sure you find what's important. Let me show you. And then you can do this anonymous ask question. Let me show you. And then you get this like heat mapping thing that you talked about, right? That's the way I want to see it, because I can't connect with just words. I need pictures.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you showed me the demo, I was really excited. I know it's like an MVP, but it was like, oh, that's actually really cool. That's a really neat tool. I can see that it's value there. Now, if you go to your next slide. Okay. So what we did, and I want you to focus on these things. So I want you to, if you're going to talk about problems, stay talking about problems. Once you move into solutions, stay in solution. And then if you're done, we're not going to bring it up again. So, and what happened and this happens a lot with people, is they'll go, problem, let me show you a little bit of the solution. Let me tell you more about the problem. And then I'm going to talk a little bit. And then I'm going to bring some more problems in. Like, you're kind of like, I'm like, wait, where are we at in the deck? And so I want to just stay in the different sections of the business itself. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So maybe move the accessibility problem next to our story.
Yeah. So you could say that. Yeah. So like accessibility,
or even before our story.
I think it's important to always ground people with your background and your story.
Here's my question,
yep.
And let me know if this is like too much. Because I essentially, like, high level from each of the slides, right? This is my problem, right? This is where I struggled. This is why we're making something like this, and it worked for me, and let's see it work for other people. This is what we do. This is why it's needed, essentially. It's like, or why there's like, this is kind of part of why there's a huge market, because they're paying over double for students with ADHD autism to graduate than they are with gen ed students to graduate. So like my issue is this leads really well into the solution, right? But this here doesn't really lead well into the solution, if that makes sense.
It does, except okay, there's two parts here. So there's the buyer. Who's the buyer? That's part of this, like that's part of the problem. Like you could say like colleges can't do this. Like college administrators can't do this. Teachers can't do this.
Harry?
Well, go ahead, Jake.
I think that like one way to like frame this is that rather than just saying like things are bad, saying there's problem A, like all these problems with education, and problem B, the problem that it's really that like it, that like even just getting the like subpar results that we're currently that like the status quo currently has, for students with disabilities costs twice as much,
right?
And the problems are for everyone, but the cost is on these students. But there's a principal agent problem where the principal, the students, has somebody acting on their behalf, an agent. And the agent wants to save money. And so the solution here is that we solve one problem with another, as it were. We provide a cheaper solution that brings the benefits of Transcribbit to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And so the agents, the administrators, will want it because it's cheaper, and the students, the principals, will want it because it's good.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would pull that out as one. Like this is a good problem slide, stating, look, one of the problems is they need help with transcribing notes. It's really, really expensive, and it's for one human being. Those are some problems. Okay. We've made a tool, and then here's the other issues. We made a tool that not only lowers the cost, but gives that same functionality to everybody. Mm-hmm. See how you solved that for both people? Mm-hmm. Just like what Jade mentioned.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Great insight.
Glad my background in like government and finance stuff, like giving handy for something.
Yeah. All right. So go to the next slide, please.
Yeah, to see it in action.
And so I normally don't love demos, honestly, but I actually did like it. And, I think it would be worthwhile to, it was fine. It was fine. I want to say something. And then I know you were reading your thing. I would really work at not needing to read what you're pitching.
Okay. Yeah, it's a new pitch.
Yeah. No, it's totally fine. I would say just practice it a lot more, like 30 times a day. And then what you'll get into the rhythm is you'll start like cutting out words, which is really important. You'll be like, oh, I don't need that anymore. Okay, so this is an interesting. How do I say this? I don't think this was necessary in the deck itself. It could be in traction. It might be better in traction. But from the pitch itself, because again, you want problem, solution, build the business case. You play around with this slide. I don't think you added the value that you want. Remember, like we're trying to go forward, and then you started to bring me backwards again.
Yeah, I'd be fine with deleting this one, honestly.
Okay.
Now, it used to be necessary, but I think not anymore.
Yeah, and I don't know what IEP stands for.
Yeah, explaining that and even explaining the process a little bit more. Like if I could even just get like stats up on like how long does it take to apply for IEP.
Yeah. Harry?
What is IEP?
I do think that like the first few times you say IEP, just replace that with individualized education plan.
Yeah. Oh. Individualized education. So 30 calendar days after a child is determined eligible, which is another process. So
eligibility determination takes 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, so you're a student struggling in class, apply for an IEP, and in half a year, you might get some support that might not work for you.
Okay, so like that's an interesting thing, because if you build the business case on this, right, like you could say 50 million students struggle with class, another 100 million never bring it up, right? It, even if you can get it, it takes all this time. It's super expensive. See how we built the problem statement for the educator?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what you want to do in the beginning. And then you're like, even if you get all of that stuff, here's the problem with the current tools.
Exactly. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's how you want to build the beginning of it.
I see what you're saying.
Okay, so now let's go into the business. Okay, so I think go back a slide. Okay, so what I want you to do is you need 2 slides here. You need this $180 per classroom per month. Then you also need a financial projection. So how many classrooms are you going to get in 2024, 2025, and so on. So a really simple chart. You could keep it here and keep it very simple. Okay, so you can cut that bottom half of this. That's not necessary.
Sounds good to me.
Because we already talked about it.
Yeah,
right?
that's something that I definitely need to work on, is the restating what has already been said in different ways.
So just tell me once, then move on. Okay. So now let's get into this target market. Okay. So what you want to do is this 3.2 billion, and you were on this slide for a really long time, which you don't need to be. I think your number's a lot higher than you actually think it could be. I don't know if you're going after, so you have K through 12 here. And then are you going after colleges, community colleges? Like, who is the first people you're going after? Like, is it K through 12? Is it elementary?
It's high schools and colleges.
Okay, so what I would do is really spell that out here, because I didn't know. And the way I say this in my book is, if you had to pick up the phone and call one buyer, who are you calling?
Mm-hmm.
Are you calling a high school group, or are you calling a college?
High schools.
Okay. So then I would say, look, here's all schools, and I think it's higher than 150 million. But we're going after high schools right now. Then go ahead.
That's kind of where, like, I wanted this to be like, this is what the market says it is. This is what I think we can make the market be, because I truly do think that if we're enabling paraeducators to be more effective, we can start cutting in on these cases where sometimes paraeducators have to travel between schools in rural areas because one student needs support in one school and another student needs support in another school. So essentially, with our paraeducator mode, we are making them more effective, and in this case, tapping into some of the market of paraeducators where there's already a shortage in paraeducators. There's a huge strike.
Right. So what I would like to see is, we're going to start with the paraeducator space in the high schools, and then we're going to do a land and expand. We're going to land there and then show them the value, and then be a ubiquitous tool within the entire school.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
So that's your go-to-market. We don't even need a whole slide for it, right? You just told me what your plan is. We don't need this slide.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And then you can show that on your financials. You're going to say, hey, we're going to start with schools in the paraeducator space. Every school has this. And then we're going to start building up new classrooms as we grow. Okay. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Now, if that's your strategy, I'm just telling you an idea. Okay. So we talked about the market size. Now I really want you guys to get into traction. So go to the next slide. Okay. So I don't know where you're at in the development of the product.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Oh, so MVP is complete. First conference. Okay. Is this... featured in part. I think you might want to do something with different colors here, or underline some things. I just didn't. This is like a lot to read.
Okay.
throw some logos on here. I think you have 3 here, but I don't know what those are. Schedule a demo with us. Oh, don't put that on there. Get rid of that.
Okay.
Again, remember this, you're not selling anything. You're just telling me about the business. Yeah, so think about redoing this slide so that it's really easy to follow. And it's like, you're like, oh, we're actually really business. We've got, so 3 schools committed. You might want to make that even bigger. You know what I'm saying? You can fix it later. But yeah, call out those things that says, no, look, we've already got the MVP complete. We got 3 people using it, and we've got 18 people lined up. Right? And we already talked about the competition slide, so that's good. Okay, so now what I want between the traction slide and then your team slide is milestones. With funding, what are you planning to accomplish? So add that slide. And this slide's really good. I actually like the way you did this. It looks good. You can go to the next slide. Some people will want more background knowledge on especially the C-suite of the company. But this is a really good one to start with. One thing that I will mention, go into your advisors. You mentioned that you're not good at marketing or whatever. I would not say that. I would just say we're looking for, marketing leads or whatever. And right now that person is filled by this. So you don't want to say negative. You want to communicate it in a positive way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, why would I bet on these guys? They don't know how to do marketing. Or it's like, oh, they understand that they need a better marketing person, and that's why they're raising money. Very different, even though it says the exact same thing. Okay, go to the next slide. Okay, and then we talked about this. So reintroduce the company. So put your logo up here, what it is that you're doing. This is a full summary of the entire business. You're going to add your contact information. You're going to need to add the terms of the deal itself. If you've closed any of the rounds, so if you've raised 100,000 of the 600, so put that on here. I would also put a $sign on the 600. Okay. It's implied, but it's just keep it congruent. And then bring those milestones again that we just talked about a couple slides ago. Say, look, here's where we are. Transcribbit. Like,
question about this one?
Yep.
Wouldn't that make this like much too busy?
Yeah, but this is the most important slide in the whole deck. You want this slide to be pretty busy.
Okay.
Yep. Because again, if I'm asking questions. Oh, so tell me a little bit about how you got that first customer, right? Oh, so what's the technology stack? What are you doing with the 100K? You can see all of these questions are coming, and I never had to change the slide. You see what I'm saying? Versus if you go to your thank you slide.
I have to change the slide everything other than what's my number.
Yeah, what's your email address? Okay, cool. It's not really doing what you want it to do.
Okay.
So with that, do you guys have any questions for me?
What are the next steps? I'd love to chat more and get.
Yeah. So with anything like this, I'd love to see the deck itself. You can send it over to me when you guys make some of those changes. I want to play with the technology. But the big thing here is, keep doing what you're doing. It seems really interesting. Get some more of that traction. And then for those that are out there, check out the book. The book goes through all the things that you guys need. And again, thanks Jade and Harry for presenting. This was really amazing. Really cool what you've built. So again, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much.
All right. We'll see you guys later.